Sharkie Gamer here. So today we're going to take a look at the Kidz Play Wireless Adventure Gamepad. So now this is a controller for the PlayStation 3 system, and this one is designed for kids. So first, let's take a look at this packaging. So this is the front of the box. You can see, of course, the Kidz Play logo, as well as a preview of the controller inside. Down the bottom, you of course got the PlayStation 3 logo as well. Up the top here, it says Comfort Grip for Smaller Hands. And of course, on the top bit here, it also says Officially Licensed Product. That's the top. It advertises their antimicrobial protection, which I'll get into a little bit later. Now the sides of the box just have basic an image, as well as the logo. And the back of the box also has another image of the controller, as well as a little bit more information there in different languages. So once you've taken everything out of the box, this is what is included. So first, you've got the Kidz Play gamepad itself. You get, of course, the USB receiver allowing you to connect it to your PS3. And lastly, you get a small manual here. Now this goes through button layouts, setup, troubleshooting, etc. So now let's go into some features. So first off, this is an official PlayStation licensed product. The version I have in front of me is the blue version, but you can also get the pink colored version. Now the pink one is more commonly found, the blue one is a little bit harder to find, but essentially the differences is just in the color of the actual hand grips themselves. So the blue one has the blue hand grips and the blue receiver, and the pink one will have the pink hand grips and the pink receiver. Everything else, the controls, is exactly the same. So pretty much just for girls and boys, I guess. Now, speaking of these rubber hand grips here, these are designed basically for smaller hands, for kids, so they're easy to hold. And they've also got antimicrobial protection. So this basically protects the controller against stains, odors, and degradation. The end result is the controller lasts longer and doesn't get as dirty. So essentially, it's designed for kids, and after all, kids don't really always have clean hands. So it's definitely a good thing. Taking a closer look at the functions of the controller. So here you've got your face buttons, and again, these are very small, kind of matches the controller, much more tinier than your traditional PlayStation 3 controller. On the top, you've got your D-pad, select, PlayStation button, as well as start. In the center, of course, you've got your two analog sticks, and these also click down. On the top here, you've got your triggers, L2 and R2. And I know what you're thinking, these are your trigger buttons, so where are your bumper buttons, L1 and R1? Well, they're actually on the back. So that's L1 and that's R1. Further down from those is your on-off switch, so of course you switch that on when you want to play with the controller. And of course here you've got your battery compartment, which is undoing that screw. So you just need to undo that screw, pull it out, and it takes 3 AAA batteries. So once you've loaded your batteries in there, you've turned the controller on, you of course plugged your USB receiver into your PlayStation 3 console, you can then play this controller wirelessly. Now this controller has a wireless range of about 10 meters, so it's a decent range away from your console. Now overall, I have mentioned this before, but this is a small controller. It's designed for kids' hands after all. So they've gone to make it more comfortable and easier to hold for smaller hand kids. And I guess if you have smaller hands and you're an adult, well, this will be awesome as well. But it is quite small. To give you a comparison, here's a PlayStation 3 controller. Now, it's a completely different shape. Straight away you can see that. But the biggest difference I find is look how big those buttons are in comparison to those. Huge, huge difference there. And of course, the biggest difference, of course, with the triggers, because you've got 2 on the back there, while these are on the actual the back of the controller itself. And of course, your LED lights are on the PS3 on the back, but the LED indicators on this controller are down the bottom. So it's definitely quite a difference from your standard controller. But the idea, of course, is if your kids have trouble holding the traditional controller, maybe their hands are too small, maybe they're really young and they're just getting into gaming, This is meant to make it easier for them and more comfortable. Now, there's two different ways you can hold this controller. You can hold it basically like a traditional gamepad, but if you are playing a certain type of game, you can also put it down on the desk and use it like a mini arcade stick. So you just put it down on the desk and you can use it like a mini arcade stick. And this is good, you can basically do this because it doesn't move at all, and this is because on the back here, you've got these little rubber feet. And these are sufficient enough, when you put it down, it won't move at all. It's pretty sturdy, so you can easily get away using this like an arcade stick. And I guess if you have a kid that doesn't like holding it, you could probably also get away with playing games like that. The only downside I can see is that, of course, you can reach the trigger buttons when it's down, but you wouldn't be able to reach the bumper buttons. So it comes down to what game you're playing and what buttons you need, whether you can get away with just putting it down and playing it just like that, or having to hold it to get those access to those back buttons. So overall, this is quite an interesting controller. It's got a very unique shape, very different from your standard PS3 controller, and of course it's specially designed to use by kids. So it's ideal for small-handed kids, really easy to hold, really easy to get used to. It's a pretty cool looking thing. And of course you can get blue and pink, so if you have a girl that doesn't like blue, well, you can get her a pink one instead. So there are different options for different colors, so you can pick the one that suits you. Now these would be probably ideal for kids, like, for instance, say you have a PS3 that you've given to one of your kids, they're sort of just getting into gaming, they're sort of new to it, perhaps they've got small hands and they find using a standard controller a little bit uncomfortable, or they can't reach the buttons, or they just generally don't like using the controller. Well, you could probably get something like this, and it might make them a little bit more comfortable. It's a lot smaller, so they don't have to stretch their hands as much. Depending on how they hold it, they might still struggle to reach these back buttons here. It really comes down to how your kid ends up holding the controller, from the bottom or from the middle. It's different preference for the different person. But overall, it's a pretty cool looking controller, and these things are pretty cheap. You can pick them up for next to nothing. Like I say, the pink one is easier to find than the blue one. So if you want a blue one, you may have to wait around and look on sites like eBay until it comes up. They do come up, and when they do, they are really cheap. So pretty cool, worth the price, especially if your kid is struggling. This might make it a lot better. Especially, remember, this is an official licensed product, so it's not just a cheap third-party kind of branded controller. It is officially licensed, so it does have a little bit of backing to it. But it does. It looks really unique. It looks really cool. It works just like a standard gamepad, and I don't imagine you'd really have problems using this with young kids or anything like that. I would say if you're an adult and try to use it, you may struggle. Even when I'm using it, I generally have smaller hands, but this controller, to me, it's not very comfortable. Like, I can easily hold it and everything like that, but the shape of it is what gets me, and that's because I don't have small enough hands. This is designed for younger kids in mind. So younger children, pretty much only. Adults could use it, but I don't think you would find it the most comfortable. You'd probably be better off sticking to a PS3 controller. So yeah, guys, that was the Kidz Play Wilds Adventure gamepad. Now there's also a Kidz Play handheld racing wheel, and I'll be doing that down the line, so keep an eye out for that. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for my other videos. I'm Sharkie Gamer. Thanks again for watching, guys.